Hi parents, in today's video I want to quickly go through some exam techniques with you. I've got 5 helpful tips that you can explain to your child, or they can watch this video and hopefully, we're pretty sure they will, learn something new and make sure that they can avoid some easy mistakes that many students make for 11 plus maths. So let's go ahead and look at the first one. The first thing I would suggest is visualization. Start to think about questions in a way that allow you to visualize the problem. So for example, it might say A has 2 times as many sweets as B, right? Person A has 2 times as many sweets as B. So B has this number of sweets. A must have twice as many. We don't know how many are in each bar, but we do know that you can see A has twice as many as B. Those bars are all supposedly equal. And so if it says something like altogether they have 30, how many does A have? Then we can see there are 3 equal parts. And so 30 divided by 3 is equal to 10. And so each of these parts, as they're all equal, are equal to 10. Now we can see that A has twice as many, which is 20, and B has 10. And so you can see that altogether, A has 20, B has 10, and A has twice as many as B. So visualization, whether it's mentally or writing it down in this way, sometimes algebra is much easier for some students. Those who find algebra challenging and it's quite last minute preparation, now you've got a month left, visualization is really good. We've got a bar modeling visualization course, which would be ideal for you if you have the time to go through it with your child. That would be really good starting point. Estimation saves you a lot of time. So if you haven't started to estimate in your 11 plus exam, so you probably have done some mocks, hopefully past papers, which are much better than third-party mocks, they are really a time for you to start using estimation skills. If you haven't looked at our previous 2 videos, have a look at them on either TikTok or YouTube, and you see that there are 2 really good examples of where estimation can save us a huge amount of time rather than trying to be perfectly accurate. Because in GO exams especially, you have 5 options, right? You have 5 multiple choice answers to choose from, and therefore it's really simple. If there is a big vast difference between the answers, estimation can save you a huge amount of time. 3, avoid the rock, what we call the rock. Sometimes in some questions and some papers rather, there are some questions which are really challenging and they don't normally put it right at the end. It's not the last question. It's normally a few questions before and sometimes even in the middle of the paper. And now we've also more recently seen in some of the CSSE exams, sometimes near the beginning of the paper. So for example, you might have done really well, okay, with question 21, 22, you're really confident of 23, but then what happens? Oh, 24 is a challenge. I don't know what to do there. Okay, it's taking me a bit long to think about. Ooh, what should I do? Should I spend another 10 minutes on this? Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back to that one. Okay, okay, then I've gone through all of the other questions. Now we've got 28. Oh, that's great. Oh, 29 is a challenge. I'm not sure how to do that one. I've only got 5 minutes left. Ooh, should I spend all my time on this one? Maybe question 30 I can get a mark instead, right? So I'll go to 30. Ooh, that one wasn't too bad. Now I've got 2 extra minutes. Now I can have an attempt at question 29 and 24. That amount of time you've saved, especially in the GL exams where each question is worth 1 mark, right? There's no point spending an excessive amount of time on one question when it's only worth 1 mark. So the best thing to do is our next tip, which is circle and move on, right? Just like I've shown you here, a literal example where you found a question challenging, you circle the question number and then you move on. Okay, be careful with the GL exams though, because when you do that in the exam answer sheet, you might have answered question 25 using question 24 space. So you've got to be really careful. Maybe make a mark on the side of the question or answer sheet, and that way you don't make that mistake. Okay, so you have to be really careful if it's like a GO exam. Otherwise, I can see you making many mistakes after that, right? So you've got to be extremely careful with that when you circle and move on for certain exams. And our final simple one, but it is really helpful, is to underline. Okay, so what do I mean by that? I'm sure you know. Here's a question. James, I'm going to highlight instead of underlining just because it's going to be a bit easier for us here. James arrives at Edinburgh Airport at 13:05. What am I going to underline? 13:05, right? I might even underline arrives. Okay, I'm highlighting it here, but you would underline in an exam. If they allow you highlighters in some exams, then use the highlighter if you must. It takes 27 minutes, so 27 minutes. These are numerical, number-based key facts in the question that I know I'm going to need to use. I don't want to keep looking for where's that thing again, right? I just want to quickly go ahead, find it, because I've highlighted it. I can find it right much quicker. Saves me a huge amount of time going back and forth, especially if it's quite a wordy question. So highlighting key parts of the question is a really sensible thing to do. Okay, what else does it say? Get from plane and collect his baggage. It then takes him 45 minutes to get to Edinburgh railway station. How long does he have to wait for the next train to St Andrews? So how long is another key part, because sometimes we might work out how long it takes rather than how long does he have to wait, right? And so that's what I need to focus on. By the time he gets to this train station, we don't know what time the next train is. We've got to find that out. That difference is what I'm going to work out rather than how long that journey is going to take. Okay, so those are the key things I would suggest. Let's quickly have a recap. Firstly, visualization. Visualization are things like bar modeling, drawing tables, drawing diagrams. These can be very helpful. Bar modeling is an exceptional visualization technique. We've got a course on there if you want to improve on visualization. There are plenty of ways of doing that with our course. Then you've got estimation and saving time. Have a look at two of our videos before. We've gone through two really good examples of how estimating and approximating, giving an approximate answer can really help you in a lot of questions, and especially if there's a massive difference between the 5 answers you're allowed to choose from. Avoid the rock, meaning there's always at least one, sometimes 2 or 3 questions in a paper that seem like it's a rock. It's hard to move from, right? You're kind of like stuck with it because you want to really put the effort and you don't want to lose that mark, which is understandable. But at the same time, if you lose a huge amount of time, you're not going to have enough time to finish the paper, right? And so we definitely don't want to do that. So that's another really important exam technique. Move on when you know this is going to take me a huge amount of time. I'm going to circle and come back to it. Then you've got circle and move on, right, as I've just said, and then underlining key, not underlining everything. That's just going to waste your time as well, because you're just going to it looks like you underline everything or highlighted everything. You're only underlining key parts, right? Numerical information, number information, right? Or something at the end of the question where it says it's got a slight twist to it. You want to make sure you don't forget that twist in the final part of your answer. So that's about it from me. Hopefully that's going to benefit you, and I'm sure if you follow those 5 steps, I'm sure you will save a huge amount of time in your final 11+ exam, and that will allow you to have more time to answer the more challenging types of questions. If you have any questions, feel free to email us or send us a message down below, and I'm sure you'll be acing your 11+ exam in the very near future. That's it from me. Take care, everyone. My name is Mohi from Singapore Maths Academy, and I'll see you in our next video. Bye.